What if I were to tell you that you are all super? Who doesn't believe me? Probably most of you, right? Well, the reason why I say that is it's a 1 in 250 million chance that your sperm hit the egg and created you. So you already hit the jackpot. Now, what does that mean? We could spend the rest of our life watching Netflix and eating Doritos, and I wouldn't hate you for it. But if you're already super, then all you have to do is harness the power of possibilities, because you're already super, right? So I'm going to start here, when I was 7 years old. And when you ask kids what they want to do when they grow up, they usually say a bunch of other things. I want to be a doctor and a lawyer, and on the weekend I'll be a model. And it's so cute, but it's bigger than that because they're not limited. And somewhere along the lines, we lose that part of us. But at this point, I was 7 years old and I had written this poem, and it was a racial harmony poem. And I won first place, and I didn't really realize the significance of that. The poem was simple, and it goes like this. The people of the world are like the colors of the rainbow. The colors work together to make a beautiful sight. With one color, would the rainbow be as lovely? With one color, would the world be right? And so at 7, I was harnessing the power of possibilities. And, you know, we often should look to children and children at play and their creativity. Because if we can go back to that part, but I don't know if we get damaged or we lose our innocence or something like that, but if we can get back to that, that's where we can go. And so, don't worry, I don't have time to go through my whole life. So I had to jump all the way to a grown man for time's sake. 2 years ago, I had become really, really pessimistic and basically depressed. I was in a dark place. I kept seeing videos and images of people that looked like me being needlessly killed by people that were supposed to protect us. And after a lifetime of fighting for my own existence because I was brown, it had really gotten to me. And I needed to find a way to get back to my optimism. And I had an idea. I always had a hypothesis from when I was 7 that no matter where we went in the world, we were more similar than dissimilar. So I said, maybe if I can take this trip, I could really get back to me. So I said, where am I going to go? I want to go to Jordan. I've never been to Jordan. I want to go to Dubai. I've never been to Dubai. I want to go to London. Okay? So I went. Of course, I worked my butt off to get enough money to go and do this. And with the support of my family, I was able to go on the trip. And so this is a pic from Jordan. This is a pic of me in Dubai. And, you know, my hypothesis seemed to work for me. Anywhere that I went, now I went by myself, and anywhere I went, I was able to meet with people and have some grand conversation and discover myself along the way. Now, this hypothesis, now you've heard of practicing what you preach, right? Well, I'm preaching what I practice because that's the only way I know how to show you how it's worked for me. And I hope that for somebody today, this will help them. The student wearing the We Are Union, Zed, I stayed with his family when I was in Jordan, and it was amazing. He was like my personal concierge and took me around the town, and it was amazing. James, who's in the middle here, he was on holiday, and it was his birthday, and he was traveling alone. So it was amazing. So we just kind of took him under our wing, and we were like the 3 musketeers the whole day, and it was like it was meant to be. And I learned so much more about London. And another thing, London was my next trip. So it was like kind of, in a way, I don't want to be corny about it, but the universe telling me, all right, you're doing the right thing. London's the way. So he gave me information, and I met him alone in London. So, okay, great, right? So, great. I went, I took a trip, I came back, I had this renewed energy. What was I going to do with this? Okay, again, I'm not naive enough to think that everybody can take a trip around the world. Obviously, there's limitations in many ways, time, money, and whatever your situation may be. But let me say this, travel and getting out of your comfort zone and out of your box is very important to do. The power of possibilities is very important, and what I believe is it's actually a prerequisite to the law of attraction. especially for poor people and marginalized groups of people. Because what happens is we tend to have a systematic and generational pull to the same kind of a small-mindedness, and it has to do with trying to survive. When you're trying to survive, how can you have a 5-year plan if you don't know if you're going to be here next week, if you can eat tomorrow? Okay? So it's not that anything is wrong with these marginalized groups. It's that they can't think about these plans if they're just trying to survive. But what if we gave a little nugget of that advice to try to break that generational stigmatism and chains? Then maybe things can happen. And so maybe you don't have plane money, maybe you have bus money, and maybe you can get over to the next town. But anyway, travel is more, I found, more mental and physical. So my next trip was to fight the pipeline in South Dakota. And I thought with this new energy, I wanted to do something that I thought would be big and monumental. So I helped with a concert to help fight the pipeline. And you see in there, I met Vic Mensa, who was there. He's a popular hip-hop artist. But more importantly, Bill Means, who's been fighting the good fight for decades. And he's the president for Indigenous People Affairs around the world and the Lakota. And so what I was able to do is take all the little footage that I could and make them into a documentary and put them online for free for anybody to see. And what I was hoping is that possibly, vicariously through me, people may get inspired. You know, people that I know, people that may not even know me. And so it was a wonderful thing. But all right, so I'm like, okay, I come back. I'm fighting a good fight locally. I'm joining local organizations. I'm helping to organize with students. And I said, well, there's more things I can do with these power possibilities, right? This is the tip of the iceberg. So my first love and passion is acting and entertaining. So I said, all right, it's time to get back into that. Now again, with the possibilities, right, it's not without work, right? It's not without legwork. I'm not saying to go out there and have a business plan about I'm just going to have possibilities and sit there. No, it's a lot of hard work. But if you can avoid and have the audacity to keep going and to keep going for your dreams, you can do some grand things. So it felt kind of like all of a sudden I was on a set, and on the movie set, I'm at the set, and across from me is Whoopi Goldberg. Now, you got to understand that I'm quite the eccentric person, okay? And one of these things that I don't eat eggs. I don't like the concept of eggs. To me, it's like, why would you get the embryo before it's the chicken? I still can't understand that. I don't. So in some weird way, somebody had offered us eggs. And Whoopi made a face of disgust. And she said, I don't like eggs. I don't eat eggs. I don't like the concept. And my face lit up because I'm not the only egg freak in the world. So this is great. So I tell her, of course, my disdain from eggs. And Tessa comes in, who's in the scene as well, and she says, are you talking about eggs? I hate eggs too. I don't like the concept. They're disgusting. And this serendipity feeling of 3 weird egg people are all in here. And I'm like, okay, so this possibility thing, there might be something to it. Now, I'm telling you this because this is not a competition. Whatever your possibilities is for you, whether it be a teacher or a lawyer, but just don't think of yourself as just that teacher or just that lawyer. Because if you think about it for teachers, and I love teachers because there's this special place in my heart for them, because you really are taking the youth and everything else that's to come is what you're teaching. The lawyers, doctors, whatever, you're bringing that into them. So maybe you can take that and do something well. There's Teachers of the Year, there's books written. So with that power possibilities, I'm still harnessing them. But another thing I know is that for me, and what I hope for you is to kind of anchor into whatever can keep you on your track of possibilities. Again, we do all have to do things that we don't want to do from day in, day out, and we can't always be around cheerleaders for us. But if we can anchor around something or someone or some people to help us on our possibilities, it makes it a little bit easier. And for me, it's my mom. She passed away way too soon, but she's my own personal hero because she was one of 10 born in rural Arkansas. And she came to New York City on her own to seek education. She got married, had 2 beautiful daughters, and escaped an abusive relationship. And then I came along, and she wanted to adopt me. But the state of New York says she didn't have the income to do so. So she got a 3rd shift, finished her master's in a very small amount of time. Now we're talking about the early 80s at this point. And for women, especially black women, it's hard now, so imagine then. Was able to get a job, get the money. I'm born, she was able to get me. And it's her harnessing the power of possibility, and that's the stock that I came from. And how dare I not use any and every opportunity I can to harness this. I mean, the stories that she could tell, I mean, it would beat Dr. Seuss in a heartbeat. And let me also backtrack on what I tell you why I have this love for teachers, because she was a dedicated educator. So at this point, I'd like to tell you this. Anybody play sports here? Maybe basketball? All right. So if you play basketball, right, you don't aim for the rim. You aim above the rim to get into the rim. So with that, I'd like to say just keep going. And if I can inspire anybody just a little bit today, I've done my job. And thank you to all the amazing people that have organized this. It takes a lot to do it. And with that, don't forget about the power of possibilities. Thank you.